Dolly's helping with this one today. I am a pretty wide reader, or I try to be at least, but I'm not shy about the fact that my favorite genre is fantasy sci-fi. More so on the fantasy side. My only gripe with this genre is how many series I read. Don't get me wrong. I love a good series, do for sure. But I would like to sometimes just sit down and not read something that's 15 bajillion pages long, and also not part 3 out of 75 in a series. You know what I mean? So I've compiled a list of some of my favorite fantasy sci-fi standalone books, and then also some books that I want to read in the future that are also standalone. So hopefully you can get something cool from this new series, this list of books I have here. So without further ado, I'm going to actually start with some YA books that I read because who doesn't love oh my gosh, hopefully that's not how today goes. Who doesn't love a fun little YA read sometimes? Uh, the first one I have is Gods of Jade and Shadows. Wow, Gods of Jade and Shadow. This is a bad omen. Anyway, um, Gods of Jade and Shadow. This was a beautiful story about first love, love and loss, doing the right thing even when it's hard. It was really interesting. If I remember correctly, this was like Mayan, yeah, Mexican folk, Mayan god of death. Yes. Oh, it was so much fun. It was a really interesting read. It was really beautiful. It did make me cry. Was not expecting that. But in my book, if it makes me cry, it means it was a good book because I felt something about it. So, highly recommend if you haven't read this one before. I also really loved Dragon Fruit. Oh, I forgot the author for this one. The author is Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Yeah, I didn't know that was the author. Oh wow. And then Dragon Fruit by Makia Lucier. This is Polynesian. Um, Basically sea dragons. Ah, it's so fun. Dragon fruit. So the dragon fruit is the egg of a sea dragon, and it's known to have like magical qualities to it, or like ultimate healing qualities. And the main character, I can't remember her name, Hanale, is on the hunt to find a dragon egg for her own reasons. It is a super cute read. It is an easy read. It's a breezy read. It's slow pace. It's just a beautiful world, and I loved it. So these are two YA fantasy standalones that I adored, and one that is technically YA but very different vibe that I have lined up that I want to read is Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. I have Hazelthorn. I also have Don't Let the Forest In. Don't Let the Forest In, I think, sounds more interesting. However, I've talked to multiple people, and one person recently, I trust their judgment on books. They told me that they were kind of disappointed with Don't Let the Forest In, and I think that's why I haven't read it yet because I feel like I'm going to be disappointed by it. I have no reason to think that. No reason at all. Actually, I from what I've heard, pretty moderately liked book. I just feel like I'm going to be disappointed. So I want to start with this one because I feel less invested in this one. Um, but this is definitely more gothic horror fantasy kind of thing. So very different vibe from these, but it's YA. That's why I included with these two. So hopefully, I'm trying to find some books that are not as well known to, not just recommended ad nauseum. Not that any of those books that are recommended ad nauseum, I have read a few of them. Will be continuing to read them. They're great, but sometimes you just want something different. So I'm trying to find something different. I don't know if I have that much different, but the lesser known ones is what I'm going to talk about today. That's such a lie. Okay, I need to just move on. So the next two, I love the atmosphere of these books. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and honestly, anything by Erin Morgenstern. I also really love Starless Sea. Well, those are her only two books. Highly recommend her. I love her. She's got beautiful lyrical writing, so whimsical, romantic. Like there's this one is a romance. The Starless Sea technically has romance in it, but I wouldn't call it a romance book, if that makes sense. Um, but when I say romantic writing, just that effervescent feeling that is romanticism. if that makes sense. I love her world building. I really get lost in her writing, and I love it so much. Erin Morgenstern, one of my favorite standalone author. I feel like my videos are just getting steadily more chaotic, and I don't really feel bad for that because hello, welcome to my life. The other one is by one of my favorite authors of all time, but it's her least popular book. It's The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I don't understand why this is her least popular book. I love this book. For all of the reasons I love this book, I love The Familiar. So this one I said was whimsical. I think it's very atmospheric. That's a really good word to describe both of these books, actually. I got lost in both of these worlds so well. This one is lyrical. She has beautiful lyrical prose in this, but it's definitely dark. Like it's darker than this one, but it also has. Um, I love it when authors play with religion. Religion is a huge theme in this one. Christianity, Judaism, just language in general. The way that Leigh Bardugo sees and works with language is one of my favorite things of all time. It's also a romance. Yes, I would call this one a romance. This one obviously is a romance too. But I love this book. I love this book. And I implore you, if anything I just described is something that you like in a book, please read this. I need someone else to know how beautiful this book is. I might do a video just on Leigh Bardugo and how much I love her and why. Because she's amazing. And I get to go see her for her tour for Deadbeats in the fall. I'm so excited. My friend and I are going to go. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. So these are two great standalones for whimsical, romantic. This one's definitely more dark. I wouldn't I guess you could say it's gothic. I just think it's more dark is what I would say. I wouldn't necessarily go gothic with it. This one is historical fiction slash fantasy slash magic in many ways. There's also magic in both of these. Now, the next standalone I have, I don't really have a connection to these aside from the color scheme of the book cover, which is slim connection. I'm owning up to that. I just didn't know where else to put this one. It's Reaper's Bin by Jonah Everts. He is an independent author. He's a content creator on TikTok, YouTube, all of the socials, Instagram. I really like him as a content creator. I was really excited when he released this book last year. I don't know why it's taking me so long to read this freaking book because I want to read it so bad. It is a standalone epic fantasy. I don't know if it's grimdark or if it just seems grimdark from the cover, but I trust his taste in books more than myself sometimes. And I really want to read it. And I love supporting independent authors. So not much connection here, really, except for the color scheme. But that's another standalone I've got coming down the line that I will be reading hopefully soon. Next, my next two standalones are books that I went into completely blind and was blown away by. Both of these were 6-star reads for me. I don't even do 6-star reads. They're some of the best books I've read in a while. Piranesi, Susanna Clark, I have talked about this many times before. We'll continue to talk about it because I love this book. I will say absolutely nothing about what happens in the book because I firmly believe you need to go in blind. I loved it. Atmospheric, lyrical prose, beautiful world building, gripping story, interesting, let's say mystery. I This is one of the very first books I started to tab. It is the first book I have ever annotated because I had to get thoughts out while I read. I loved this book. Piranesi. I know she does have another book that's a lot longer. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norwell, I think that's what it's called. I want to read that. I'm nervous to read that because it's huge. But this was fantastic. I love her writing. I love this book. Another one, where did it go? Where I went in completely blind. I lost track. I guess I technically, we'll just throw things together now. I did go in blind for Project Hail Mary. I did love Project Hail Mary. It is one of my favorite books of all time. I loved it. I loved it for so many reasons. Um, I remember my train of thought. Now, see, the thing is, the last few videos I haven't had notes up, and this is what happens when I don't have notes. I've got it in my brain now, though. This was beautiful world building, really experiencing something new with the main character. Beautiful. Well, there wasn't. There was a little bit of world building, but it was experiencing the new world, a new world with the main character. That's what this one was for me. I loved that. So because of that, this one was actually recommended to me at Barnes and Noble by one of the booksellers there, The Mountain and the Sea by Ray Naylor. Um, this one, from what I understand, is the main thing that separates humans from animals. Well, one of the big things that separates humans from animals is communication, specifically written communication. So this is where a scientist finds a colony of or a habitat or a group of octopus that have created a written language. And I'm told that along the side, this is their written language. And by the time you finish the book, you should be able to read this, which I think is really cool. And it made me think of Iridian here, like the Iridian language, and how Ryland Grace in Project Hail Mary like deciphers that and creates a translation system with Rocky and Iridian, a space creature, just on his own with his little buddy. And I think that's really cool. This, I think, has more insidious implications to it. This one was all about love and companionship and great things. This is not the same vibe, but there were some really interesting connections I saw here, which made me want to read this book. The salesman did a great job of selling this book. I'm the one that made the connection to Project Hail Mary because when he was breaking it down, that's all I could think about. Yeah, this sounds really good. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Yeah, cool. I did go in blind to both of those books, though. I will not be going in blind for The Mountain and the Sea. The next books I read because I didn't really know what I wanted to read, so I just picked it up. One of them was Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This one is so much fun. I actually did read this for a book club meeting that I didn't end up going to. I'm not actually in a book club. If anybody wants to start a book club, that would be really fun. We could work something out. But this one, I don't know if anybody has seen the show. The show is fantastic because the cast is fantastic. I mean, come on. But this one was so much fun. It was funny, it was realistic, dark in some places, but hopeful. And I love that in a book. And I think that same vibe goes for The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. This is another one of those 6-star books. So my top books of the year so far have been this book, The Spear Cuts Through Water, and Project Hail Mary. But I also really liked Good Omens when I read it too. So these were fun, um, just like escapism books, I would say. I just really like them. Now, oh, Dolly, she's done listening to me yap. I actually have 2 standalone books for this pairing that I hope to get to soon. Okay, don't yell at me for not having read this book. It's been on my list for so long. I really want to read it. I've had other books that have taken priority, but this one keeps getting kicked up on my priority list. Blood Over Bright Haven by Emma Long. I don't exactly know what this is about outside of I've heard like badass female protagonist. Say less. Um, I just really like this. I would really like to read it. I have heard only good things about it, which doesn't happen very often. So that's part of what makes me a little nervous because I've only heard good things. I'm worried about another Heartless Hunter situation. We're scared of that. Another one that goes along with, yeah, sure, why not? That's what this list is. Yeah, sure, why not? Starling House by Alex Harrow. I don't know what this is about. Well, actually, just before I started recording, I did a quick glance through, and it sounds a lot like The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer, which is one of my favorite books ever. But make it magic. Oh, say less. I love that. That sounds amazing. So these are two. I haven't heard much about the response to this, how people feel about this book, and I purposefully do not look up reviews before I read a book because I don't want it marring expectations. Um, Let me be specific. I don't look up reviews on Goodreads or Fable or anything like that because I don't want to be skewed in how I read it. I do watch a lot of like social media book recommendation videos. So hit or miss on how much accurate or relevant feedback I've had on these books, but they're the ones that this one I've heard like nothing about. This one I've heard a lot about. Both of them are just like, I want to experience it. These were just books I wanted to experience, and these were awesome. I love them. Highly recommend. The last bit of recommendation I have are my buddy Brandon Sanderson. So these were the very first two standalone books I have read from Brandon Sanderson. This one, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, is amazing. I can recognize that it's probably not going to be everyone's favorite book, and that's fine. This one just touched me on like a soul level. It really was very sentimental to me. It's the purest expression of love for art that I could find, and I thought it was fantastic, beautiful, amazing. I have to work really hard not to reread this one because I have so many other books that I want to read, including some more Brandon Sanderson books. I still need to read The Cosmere. I still need to read Stormlight Archive. I have I want to reread Mistborn. I really do. I also have the rest. I have Mistborn Part 2, Era 2 to read, but this one keeps coming back to my mind. I also read Trust of the Emerald Sea recently. This was such a cute read. I did like Yumi more. Yumi the Nightmare Painter was definitely my favorite standalone so far, but this one was a lot of fun. If you wanted a quick, cute, easy read, this is a great one. I also think, whoa, if you want to try out fantasy, if you're not a huge fantasy reader, this is a great book, a great recommendation for that because it's very lighthearted, quest based, true love. He basically says, I think it's if it's not on the back of the book, he says it in multiple videos or interviews when he's talking about his books. Brandon says that this is um, the Princess Bride if Buttercup went after Wesley, and it fits that, and it's so cute, and I loved it. It was so much fun. So those are the two books that I have read. The ones that I'm going to read based off of these, obviously, is The Princess Bride. I am very embarrassed that I haven't read this before. I haven't read it yet. I'm so ashamed of myself because The Princess Bride movie not only is a family favorite of mine that we have watched since I was a child, it's one of my personal favorite movies, and I am very upset with myself for not having actually read it. But it comes back to that fear of what if it's not as good as I think? What if it's not as good as I think? So I think it is going to be as good as I think. I just need to buckle down and read it. But obviously, the pairing, of course, I'm going to read The Princess Bride. Of course, there's the connection there. The other book I have on deck that I will be reading soon is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. I don't know what this book is. I didn't read the back cover. I know it's a standalone. That's why I picked it up. That's all I know. That's how much faith and trust I have in Brandon Sanderson at this point. I have read 5 of his books thus far. I've read the Mistborn trilogy, Yumi and Tress. I would trust him to write the phone book. I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. I'm reading it. Yes, Dolly agrees. That's what this is. All right. So I hope that was helpful. So a few little standalone books, standalone fantasy books, because I know I see so many, and I am going to continue to read fantasy series. I just sometimes I need a one-off, a one book. Another book that's on the horizon for me. aside from Blood Over Brighton by Emma Wong, is The Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wong. I've heard that that book is better than Blood Over Brighton, so obviously I want to read it. So yeah, what do you think? Well, let me know. Is this? Have you read any of these books? Do you agree or disagree with any of my recommendations? Do you have any thoughts on my recommendations? Any thoughts of what I plan to read? Or do you have more suggestions for me? Because I love adding things to my TBR. I was just talking to a coworker the other day and added a bunch of books to my TBR. So please let me know. Yeah, happy reading.